are listening to WHOA Podcast, coming to you from Gainesville, Florida. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the WHOA GNV Podcast, the Coronavirus Sessions. These are little sessions that we are bringing every weekday at noon to help our business community really get through this virus and everything that's happening. We're going to be interviewing business owners, business professionals, and other community leaders, and we're going to dive in. And so I'm really excited about today and getting into it. But before we do, I want to introduce my co-host, Michael Dees. What is up, man?
Another day, man, living it. Actually, we're in the middle of 3 episodes we're recording today, and then after this, I'm becoming a pup father today. I adopted a puppy during all this downtime. Found a rescue, and I'm gonna be a pup father, which I know you probably think is the worst idea ever. But.
The worst idea ever. I mean, you guys, when it comes to animals are like children. You got to take care of them. I don't understand if you realize this. You got to take care of them. And you got to and then when you want to go away for the weekend, you either got to take them with you or you got to find somebody to babysit. I mean, it's just.
That's all right. Shannon said that she would watch them for me. So I already got that taken care of.
Actually, we probably would. We'll help you out.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. There's a lot of, and we support a lot of the organizations that, have pets up for adoption and that kind of thing. So if you're like Michael and you need a pet, definitely reach out to one of them. But I'm going to tell you right now that I'm not interested in.
You've got two pets. They're kids, and they're going to be on a future podcast episode. So
yeah, I'm trying to get them on, but Schaefer right now is he's kind of like, no way. Maddox is all about it. So we'll see.
Sure.
We'll see if we can make it happen. I want to kind of get the kids' perspective on homeschooling and all this kind of stuff. They're members of this community too. They're dealing with this. A lot of interesting perspectives right now. So anyway, I don't want to waste any time. I actually just want to get right into the episode, and I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Collin Austin. Again, James always says that I always forget to introduce myself. My name is Collin. Hi, everybody. And today's guest is my friend Soly from Comfort Temp. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm actually going to let you give a little 30-second to 1-minute spiel of who you are, your position, and the organization that you work for, because I did a very poor job.
You're good. So yeah, I'm Soly Strack, and I work for Comfort Temp Company. We are the motherboard of Comfort Temp Heating and Air and CT Mechanical. And what I do there is I'm the HR, PR, and marketing director most of the time. Sometimes I am COVID response. Sometimes I'm IT troubleshoot, as has been the case this last month. But for the most part, HR, PR, and marketing.
So how many people are in your organization?
Yeah, our current standing is actually 176 team members.
Okay. So you're not busy at all with all those hats that you're wearing.
Not at all. Nah, yeah, it's a breeze.
So Soly, walk us through a little bit of this, because you have the interesting perspective of being a team member for one of our great organizations here. What was, and then being in the HR department too, when this virus really started to come out, and we started getting those first cases in Gainesville or in Alachua County, and we knew that this was going to impact, and you started hearing about the University of Florida sending students home for what was supposed to be 2 weeks. What were the first actions? That's one of my favorite questions, is just what were the first actions that you guys took as an organization? What was the communication like from HR, from the company owners, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So when we started to see the first cases in the United States, and obviously seeing what the university was doing and the schools were doing, we had to have a tough sit-down situation. We are a very optimistic company. We like to focus on where we're going, how we're going to get there, how we're going to grow, and that's kind of our mentality pretty much 24/7. And so having to consider risk and maybe potential downsizing or whatever it might be is not the way we like to think, but it's realistic. We have to. And so the first thing we did was just call a meeting and sit down and talk through, okay, what are CDC mandates? What are other people doing? What are our case scenarios? And we kind of broke it up. Okay, this is phase one. What would we do? What would be the plan implementation for this? How would we be affected? How would the employees be affected? And kind of took it all the way down to worst case scenario, which honestly was a super hard meeting to have. But I think being realistic and preparing ahead of time so you're being proactive and not just reactive is super, super important, especially when you have 175 awesome team members who have their own families and, you know, you're the support system that they use to be able to feed and support their families. And so it's something we took very seriously. From the start, we were all, I mean, I've never watched so many webinars or read so many articles or watched so much news in my life. And I don't know if I should admit that, but that's the truth. So the first step for us was educating ourselves. Okay, what exactly is going on? What is the small business recommendation? What is the chamber recommending? What is BANSF recommending? And just connecting with different sources that we have in our community to see what they know and kind of compare notes and brainstorm. So that was the very first thing we did, was educate ourselves. And then after taking in all that education was coming together as a team and saying, okay, how do we want to implement it in our company? And we came up with very stringent guidelines, you know, and as they became more strict, we released more and more guidelines to our employees because we are an essential service. So it was hard because they want to protect their families from being exposed, but we also need them to continue the operation and servicing, you know, the families that are full-time home now with no AC. And so how do we keep them safe? How do we keep these families safe? And there was a lot of that being developed. So we communicated with our customer base. This is what we're doing. We ask of you as well, if someone's sick in your home, that you let us know because we don't want to expose our employees. Constantly communicating with our employees. And one of the things we found out is really early on is email. It's great to kind of organize your thoughts and put it out there and summarize, but not to deliver really important news. And so after that mishap, that was a big learning curve. We decided to do video updates weekly for our employees because it's just really good to see the facial expression and kind of the humanity in it, you know. So our president does weekly updates to our employees, what, you know, the guidelines we're following are, what changes are coming, and what we're proactively doing, you know, our CFO and HR to make sure that we're getting the loans or the financial assistance we need to assure all 175 of our members stay on board.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I actually did the same thing, right? I found out that I was writing these really long emails, and then finally I recorded a video and I was like, I'm sure you guys are tired of reading these long emails. I'm certainly tired of writing them. So here's a video of what you guys need to know right here, right now. So, and I think it's good. It allows the team members to, you know, to see your face and you know, a lot gets lost, whether, you know, context gets lost via words and via text messages. Sometimes we get in a habit of sending text messages. I've been trying to do a lot more of this, a lot more Zoom calls. I mean, even we've been doing end-of-day wrap-ups with our service team, we're considered an essential business too, and our service team's been working behind closed doors. So at the end of the day, we've been getting our service leaders on a call and just having a face-to-face where we can see everybody and kind of summarize what's happening in the day, what's on the agenda for tomorrow, and that kind of thing. I found it incredibly helpful. Mike, have you?
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think you're spot on in terms of context and how a lot of that gets lost in emails. But it's also like, you know, it's kind of, as humans, we're people that are based off of interaction, and some of that is physical, but a lot of it is like visual, you know, body language cues and stuff like that. And these times, I think for a lot of people can be depressing without all that. So even something like jumping on a call and seeing your coworkers or seeing your friends and family, even though it's not the same as being in person, it's the next best thing. And I think that can help provide that uplift, you know?
Yeah. So you might be asking, like, what's the level of transparency been like within your organization? You know, have you guys, you know, for the first time as a business leader, you know, the word layoff has entered my vocabulary, if you will. You know, and we're certainly as leaders, Mike and I are doing everything that we can to prevent that from happening. You know, but you know, you don't want to put a level of fear into team members. You don't want, but you also don't want to make false promises. You know, you don't want to be at a stage where it's like, I don't want to tell my team, hey, everything's going to be fine, we're going to get through this, when the truth is, like, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to give it my very best. I'm going to give it everything that I've got to see my organization through this and to keep our team members. But I don't want to make false promises. And so, you know, what ways, like, how have you guys balanced that or delegated that? And if, you know, if I get too deep on something, feel free to tell me, you know, hey, cut that out, and we will. But, like, you know, I want to bring a lot of value to our audience, and I think, you know, we're all trying to navigate this. You know, I don't have 176 team members. Like, I don't know what that would be like and what those conversations would be like. But I know that there's other organizations in Gainesville who are in a similar place, and I think it'd be super valuable to know that level of transparency.
Yeah. Well, I think different businesses will have more or less of an obstacle to overcome based on the trust and the faith that your team members have in you already. Have you proven yourself to be someone who's, you know, rooted for them and worked things out and been flexible with them to in the past? And that definitely helps if that foundation is already there and your employees trust you in your decision making. It's a lot easier to communicate during this time because they just know there's that foundation that they know you're looking out for their best interests. And so what we've done, honestly, is we have been transparent in those videos, but we are also asking our employees to have faith in us. You know, we can't promise anything, and that's something we're very clear about. But what we could tell them and assure them of is that we are exhausting ourselves in every way possible to find any means that we come across that could secure the finances for the company to allow them to continue to work, and allowing, you know, even things such as, okay, well, now they're worried about their safety. We're delivering soap and hand sanitizer and vitamins to the job sites, things to just help them know, you know, tangible things to help them see that we are taking care of them. And so I think everyone has a pretty realistic mindset right now. Everyone knows that that is an option or a possibility if things do get worse, if job sites get closed down or things of that nature. But I think there's a lot of really good resources out there that are helping businesses from having to do a layoff or a furlough. And so we're jumping onto those opportunities to be as preventative as possible, communicating what we're doing to them so that they feel more secure and more at peace with where we are, and just asking them to have hope and faith in us. So.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, that's where having a strong company culture, it's almost when you invest all that time really building out a strong company culture, this is the time where you really get to cash in on it, if you will, right? It's like you've earned that trust through the reputation and through the years of doing what you said you were going to do. You know, you're able to, like, have those team members know that when you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. And when that means, like, you're going to give it your very best to keep everybody afloat, you're going to give it your very best to keep everybody afloat, right?
Yeah, and not make any promises you can't keep. I mean,
right.
There goes culture down the line. There goes.
I know, man. And that's one of our core values too. Like, one of our core values is to keep promises. So for me, I'm like, you know, I don't want to make any false promises, but I still want my team to be confident. And I think that's where it's tough sometimes, is that, you know, there's a lot of negativity, and we've talked about this on the podcast already. There's a lot of negativity around this thing. A lot of, like, oh, the world is melting mentality. And I really just want my team to not have that mentality, and to really come together and look for the opportunities, right? Where are the opportunities amongst this? You know, we just talked to Eric Godet from the chamber, and one of the things that he said is that, like, all businesses, no matter what, like, we're all going to have to pivot in some sort of capacity. And that word pivot is going to be critical in determining the future success of our business community. And I thought that was a really strong point. So From a financial standpoint, have you guys, I mean, you're still an essential business, but have the number of calls just completely decreased? Like, are you guys still have plenty of work? I mean, what's been like the business impact?
Yeah. So before I touch on that real quick, because this
Yeah.
kind of ties to it, from the very start, I think, because you mentioned it, attitude and perspective is super important to get by on this time. And I remember sending out an article to our operations team, our managers, on how to lead through a time of crisis, and just keeping that positive, calm, confident, demeanor to their employees to assure them that they're going to be taken care of. And it's crazy because perspective means everything. We can say, oh, we're stuck at home, and oh, I can't do anything, I can't see my friends, but hey, wow, I get to spend more quality time with my family. I could work with less distractions. I mean, just trying to hold on to those positive things. And I've definitely had some employees who I would say are the Debbie Downers, who would say, the situation sucks, what about my job, just coming with the comments. And I always refocus them and reshift into saying, right now, we consider ourselves blessed. The fact that we are still an essential business and we can still go to job sites and people's homes and serve them and not have to close our doors. And I remind them of all the businesses that have suffered in our community, in our little Gainesville. And I'm saying you don't take it for granted, be grateful that you still get to work from home, or that you still get to work with some hesitation and some extra measures that might be annoying, but you still get to work and still have, your full income and your full paycheck. So, that was, I kind of forgot the question.
All right, I'll go back to it because I'm kind of like going down this rabbit hole with you right now. I mean, and Mike, maybe you can even vouch for me a little bit. I feel like my 16 years in entrepreneurship have led me, like it had prepared me for this moment. I feel there's no doubt that this is the biggest hurdle I've ever had to deal with as a business leader and as an entrepreneur. But I have never been more calm and more cool and more collected and have had my composure through all of it. In the past, I would call what was my worst leadership quality, is that I would always react to situations and not respond to them. I would always freak out, and lose my cool. I had a hot head for a while, and we've talked about, like, even yesterday we're talking about, in a previous recording, meditation and some of these things that have really helped me with that, in terms of, and a lot of my spirituality and, just studying scripture and that kind of thing has really helped me, keep that composure. But like, I just think that's it. We're in a time right now where we need that leadership to really step up. And the way you're going to get through this is by having that composure and by keeping the cool head and being extremely focused. Mike, any thoughts on that?
Well, I can definitely.
You've always been a cool cat, man. Like Mike's always got his composure. He's always been able to step back and like see it from all perspectives. Is one of the things that I admire highly about Mike. So, but
I appreciate that. I was going to say, I can vouch for your reaction. I can vouch for your growth through it. And I like to take a little bit of credit and saying that, my influence is part of your growth through that. I don't know if that's true or not. I just like, okay. No, but so, I mean, Soly, we did talk about some of the hats that you wear in HR, but like how far back in the HR textbook is pandemic response? I mean, is that on a personal level, has it been stressful adding that to your arsenal, or did you feel prepared to handle this as it's continued to grow?
I don't think anybody in this world was prepared for this. I actually, no joke, you say that, but I opened up my HR handbook from grad school, and I looked it up, and there's a very small section of it all the way in the last chapter, and I think there's a paragraph like, have a safety plan for it, have a catastrophe plan. I mean, that's like what it says, but know how to, and I think especially pandemics are so different, whether it's airborne versus not. I mean, there's no right way, there's no way they can predict that, but I've just reached out to all of my resources, watched all the webinars, and try to educate myself as much as possible so that I know I'm making educated decisions and not just, well, I think this is a good idea. Is this legal? Am I using this resource properly? And, organizations like SHRM or other HR professionals that I really look up to and admire in the community, I've been Zooming with them and texting them and saying, what are you doing? And just feeding off, kind of like what this podcast is. What are other people doing and how can it help my business? How can I implement that? So it's been just a team effort really and a learning curve, but now we're prepared. I know next time if something starts on the other side of the world, I'm preparing for it now just in case it comes over. So
yeah, it's really good. So the question that I had asked before was really about the financial impact, the impact on business. I mean, you guys are an essential business, but have you seen a major decrease in business because of this virus, and how have you guys been navigating that?
Yeah. So to answer your actual question now, we have been so lucky that we have not. And on our commercial side with new construction and job sites, it's been due to the fact of the stringent safety guidelines, whether that's checking temperature every day, desanitizing tools daily, like wearing masks. They've gone to extreme measures to make sure construction job sites are well taken care of. And that's been a huge collaboration with the Florida Builders Association and the Gainesville BANSF, our Builders Association. They've been working with the commissioner's office to make sure that we're being above reproach to keep them safe. And so they've allowed that. And so we've been really blessed that they haven't really closed down any of our job sites, just increased the level of security and safety that's required. On our residential side, it's actually increased, ironically. And I think that has to do with the fact that people are home 24/7 now with their families, and they don't want to feel uncomfortable. I mean, this whole situation is already uncomfortable. So they really want their homes to be comfortable, their ACs to be working well. And now that they're spending more time at home, they're probably like, oh yeah, this is not working as great as it should be. And so that's actually increased. And thankfully, they feel comfortable allowing us in with the safety measures we've taken. And a lot of indoor air quality. That's a huge thing. I mean, indoor air is like 2.5 times more polluted than outdoor air. And a lot of people are not educated in that. And so having proper filtration or UV or things that help clean your indoor air is on high demand right now. I mean, everybody wants it in their house. So we've actually been really busy on our residential side.
That's
definitely just made me want to get up and change my air filter right now.
Yeah, you should. Everybody right now, if you're watching this, get up and change your air filter.
Now that you said that, I'm totally doing that. It's funny because even hearing you say that, like this back porch that I've been on, like, I guess, like I just
very nice.
This has become my remote office, and so I've been spending a lot of time out here on the back porch, which is great because it's shaded virtually all day, which is awesome. But like my backyard is a disaster. And so I'm like, it's funny because I'm thinking about people investing into their homes right now because they're spending all this time at home. I'm like, yeah, like I called the company. I'm like, yeah, I need you guys to come out and clean up my backyard for me, please. I need something nice to look at while
you're starting to realize things that you had kind of put in the back burner.
Well, which is interesting. I noticed that on the business side too, right? Like, you think you have this, I mean, and Mike, you've talked about it. I mean, where you would be at work and have customers walking in the door and having, scooter sales happening, like those things, as great and as important, like that's obviously the priority. That's where we make all of our money. But at the same time, you have this ongoing to-do list of things that have stacked up over 3 years that you've never done because of that. And then now there's like these extra opportunities to work on those to-do lists that you haven't been able to in the past. So, we're spending a lot of time, working on that kind of stuff as well, which is cool.
One of my favorite features whenever New Scooters for Less got moved over to G Suite was when somebody showed me the snooze button in your inbox. And it's funny because now I'm seeing these things pop up, and where I used to be conditioned is I'll snooze that till tomorrow, I'll snooze it to next week, whatever. Now it's like, maybe I can actually handle this one and get it off so it doesn't pop up so much anymore, you know? So it's just crazy to finally have that time to, you know, make those changes that you tell yourself. And I think we've all been there where it's like, you know, I just don't have time to do this. We don't prioritize it. It's not what's important right now. But now is a time, like we've been given the gift of time to kind of dust off some of those things, whether it's personal growth or areas of your business you haven't been focusing on, or those tasks that you're going to get to one day. You know, it's like, now's the time.
Yeah.
That's great perspective. I mean, that it comes back to perspective again, saying, hey, now I get to work on this and focus on this. Whereas to before I had a constant, distractions or interruptions and I couldn't. And so it comes back to perspective, and so I can appreciate that. I've definitely put a lot of, since last year, projects on the back burner, and I'm getting around to them as well now. So it's going to be better for the business. And, finally having the opportunity to work on it has been great.
Have you guys discovered any new opportunities through this? Like, is there anything that's come up? You're like, man, like, why didn't we think about that before? I'm curious because I think that a lot of businesses are going to discover new opportunities through this. So I'm just curious if anything's popped up yet.
Yeah, I think we've been discussing it a little bit with our marketing team and our general manager on the residential side, but having a lot of more of the non-touch service overall has been a new thing that we'd have never thought of, but overall is a lot more protective of our employees and the customers. I mean, all year round, whether there's a pandemic or the flu or, whatever it might be going around, there's a lot of ways to be less intrusive when you come into somebody's home and making them feel more comfortable. And so we're just kind of working with technology right now, how to do maybe like virtual diagnosis and things of that nature. And our company, we do try to be technologically savvy, but because of our audience and some of our team members, we haven't quite, pushed things through. But now that we don't have an option, we've, opened our eyes to this world of technology and all these things you can do through phones, through applications, digitally. And I think it's going to just evolve that world of even sales and estimates, and it's going to make it a lot more efficient and a lot more quick. And I'm excited to see what the technology being developed can do for us.
Yeah, nothing like a pandemic to force people out of their comfort zones and get them on technology, right?
Zoom meetings, that has been, I don't know your experience, but no one had Zoomed before. And so you have the people who are like really close to the camera and like kids running in the background. And so it's been fun.
Yeah, nobody walking around naked, not realizing their camera's on yet, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've seen like memes and stuff on like Facebook, and things popping up where people are doing their first Zoom meetings and don't realize that they're on video.
Yeah, they didn't quite click the video off. Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. But I think you're right, and that's super interesting. Kind of hearing that. I mean, from the technology, I think that's one of the things that's going to stick, right? We talk about like what's going to be the next status quo that comes from this. I think this will be one of them. I think we'll have a lot more of these virtual meetings. Like, hey, like, and even if I'm setting up a call, I was just thinking, in the last week, how many times just like, hey, let's set up a call and let's have a call. Like now I'm kind of like, let's set up a Zoom meeting and like let's have the face-to-face interaction. And I think that's something that I'm definitely going to stick with. That I prefer. I like seeing people's faces and being able to have that interaction. So, well, this has been great. Mike, you have anything else?
Yeah, I'm curious. So as we get into the hotter months, this is like an industry specific thing for you. Like as we get into the hotter months, there's more demand on AC units and stuff like that. I think if there's one thing, especially in Florida, that makes somebody universally cranky, it's if their AC at home goes out. But contrast that with, I think, one of the silver linings of this COVID-19 thing that everybody's dealing with is there's a lot of natural like consumer empathy. People know that you're out there trying to do the best you can. They're trying to help. They realize what's important, maybe what's not important. So I'm just curious, like, first of all, have you seen that yet? And then as things start to get warmer, get hotter. Units need to be serviced. They fall in disrepair. Do you think, like, are you prepared to keep up with that from an efficiency standpoint in terms of all the repair calls? Has this slowed down your ability? Will you get backlogged? And can you deal with that, like, crankiness versus empathy thing that's probably going to exist?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in any service industry, customer service is the number one thing. And so you have to deal with all the attitudes, all the crankiness, as you put it, that customers might bring. But I think same thing goes, that I was saying to the employees, as long as you're communicating and being honest, truly honest with the customer. Hey, we are busier than ever. The earliest I can book you is this day. Is that okay? Just communicating it and being honest. They tend to be more understanding than not, rather than just being like, okay, well, I can't do it. It'll be 4 weeks by now. Explain the situation, what's going on. What are you doing to stay proactive? We're currently trying to hire 2 more technicians in order to upkeep the demands. Until that happens, this is our wait period. Are you okay with that? Just kind of communicate it with them. And I think one of the biggest things that we do during this time is that we prejudge or pre-assume what people's answers are going to be. And I think more than ever, people are more understanding than usual. So when you do communicate it across, it almost surprises you, because you've made that predetermination that employee is going to freak out or that customer is going to freak out when you call them and happen to cancel their stuff. You know what I mean? And they're not. They're being gracious, and I'm grateful for that. So I think as long as you're honest, people will understand. But of course, from the business perspective, if we see that happening, we are hiring. We're trying to get more people on the team, train them in our way of how we do work, and get them out there to provide good service to those families and bring them comfort and peace of mind before they know it. So
as many of us are sitting at home with the benefit of time, like, is there something we should be doing proactively, reaching out to Comfort Temp and saying, hey, like, should you come service my AC now? Maybe that way in May, June, July, like, I don't need anything. I don't have to worry about it breaking down. Is that something we should be proactive and responsible about?
Yeah, I mean, we always recommend people to be on some sort of preventive maintenance plan. Usually you get your AC checked out twice a year. And what that does is assures that it's like your car, like you take your car in for an oil change, just make sure that everything's running fine and tuned. So come, you have to turn on the heat, or come, you have to really cool off your house. It's working and it's keeping up and it's not trying so hard. So yeah, if people aren't being serviced through an HVAC company, they can always call us. We're happy to serve them, or call the person who is servicing their unit and ask them to come out and check it out before it does get heated up, because then the backlog, like you mentioned, is going to increase and they're going to have to wait just a little bit longer to get their AC checked out.
All right, guys.
No one wants that.
I gotta go change my filter. So.
And we have free filters with our services. So. Just throwing it out there.
Bonus points. So cool. Soly, thanks for joining us today.
Of course.
It's really good. I'm really proud of Comfort Temp and the culture that you guys have there and everything that you guys are doing. And I know a lot of it is because of your incredible work. So some mad love to you and to the rest of the team. Wishing you guys the very best through all of this. And if there's anything that we can do to support you and help, just let us know. But why don't you let our audience know where they can contact you if they need to have their HVAC system checked out, and what's the best method of contact?
Yeah. So obviously we have our website, comforttemp.com, that they can go and book their service online. But if you want to talk to a human, which is totally normal at this time, we don't have Zoom meetings, but you could call 352-332-COOL and it'll ring right through. We're working 24/7. So if your AC does break down in the middle of the night or on a weekend, do definitely reach out to us, whether it's online, our emergency number's there, or calling our 322-COOL number.
Awesome. Excellent. Mike, anything else, man?
No, man. Soly, you rocked it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I was so nervous.
Were you really?
But you guys are so fun and so welcoming and just so down to earth that you made it so easy. And thank you for what you're doing. This is really awesome. This is what we need in this time. Businesses helping other businesses and putting out resources to make sure that we all come up on the top side of this. And so I really appreciate your work, you guys, what you're doing. And thank you for interviewing me.
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, Gainesville, like, help us, listen, share this. Like, I think just by encouraging everybody, encouraging our community, and learning how, Comfort Temp is dealing with things and how all the other organizations are navigating this. I think that we're going to be able to save some companies and save a lot of jobs. And so that's the whole goal. So thank you again so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And everybody, this is the WHOA GNV podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go, woo! I wasn't
sure if I was
yeah. That was excellent. We will see you later. Bye.